Are you serious? Are you serious? 4 blood moon tetrad. Let me show you. We're getting ready to have blood moon number 3 coming up on April the 4th, which is the Sabbath. It's also Passover, and it's the 3rd blood moon. Just so you can, I want to thank Dr. Glickman for sending this to me, but this is the perfect sign, because if you look at the partial solar eclipses, the distance between them were perfect. This is the only one of the 8 tetrads that land on the 4 high Jewish feast days that also the partial eclipses were exactly the same distance apart in days. Just wanted to show that to you. Now, of course, we've already had the first blood moon. That was on April the 15th, 2014, Passover. We had the second, and between that one, even before that one, just before that one, I mean, we had Russia already invading Ukraine. And then between the first one and the second one was on October the 8th, 2014, which was the Feast of Tabernacles. In between there, we had Russia's invasion of Crimea. We had the Pope calling all religions to the Vatican for prayer, which looked like definitely the formation of a one-world religion. We had the rise of Ebola in West Africa. We had the rise of ISIS slaughtering Christians all over the Babylonian Empire, the ancient empire of Babylon, in what I call the Babylon prophecy, doing exactly what the scripture said they would do in the land of the Chaldeans, which is central Iraq and central Syria. You can find that in Jeremiah chapter 50, 41 through 46. And we had a 50-day war. Israel went to war against Hamas for 50 days. All of that between the first and second blood moon. Now we're between the second and the third. The third one coming up this Saturday on the Sabbath, on Passover, April the 4th, 2015, third blood moon. I'll be preaching in Rockford, Illinois, at a Bible prophecy conference with Messianic Rabbi Leona Rosenberg and Messianic Rabbi Stephen Ben Danoon. And we'll be preaching and speaking. And my wife Heidi will be there. Also, Code Searcher will be there as well. And that is coming up on the third blood moon, April 4th, 2015, Rockford, Illinois, at the Hilton Gardens Convention Center. Folks, between the second and third blood moon, we've seen unbelievable astronomical signs. We've also had this, because we had a full solar eclipse. We've had the CERN cranked up on the same day. We've had planes falling out of the sky. Wars and rumors of wars. And we have this Iranian nuke deal. We had Benjamin Netanyahu come to America without the blessing of President Obama, speak before Congress, breaking protocol, and the tensions in the Middle East could never be any higher. We have Saudi Arabia has attacked Yemen. Saudi Arabian's king, Abdullah, died. Yemen's president overtaken in a coup. Chaos all over the Middle East. All of this has been going on between the second and third blood moon. Are you serious? Are you serious? And folks, you might say, well, these blood moons don't mean nothing to me, Begley. There's a lot of blood moons. Sure there is. But there's only 8 that have landed on high Jewish feast days since the crucifixion of Christ. The first one was 162 and 163 AD. And this was when the Great Plague came upon the earth and destroyed 1/3 of Europe, and the Jews were told to find a new home. This all was going on in the years 162 and 163. The four blood moons landed on Passovers and Tabernacle, Passover and Tabernacle. So this was a very, very prophetic time back in 162 and 163 AD, after the crucifixion of Christ. The second one was in 795 and 796. The Muslims attempted to conquer the world. The world, literally, they failed. Charlemagne these are the days of Charlemagne. Millions of Jews and Christians were martyred. All of this went on as there were four blood moons, Passover tabernacles. All of this happened in the year 795 and 796. Again, four blood moon tetra on four high Jewish feast days. The third time was in the year 842 and 843 AD, as the Muslims defeated the Holy Roman Empire, as they were called, and martyred millions of Jews and Christians. Again, the four blood moons were on Passover and Tabernacle, an unbelievable time. The fourth four blood moon tetra on four high Jewish feast days was in the year 860 and 861. 860 and 861. The Muslims attempted to conquer the world again for a second time. They were defeated by Europe. Millions of Christians and Jews were martyred again during this time. That was the fourth tetrad. And then the fifth blood moon tetrad was in the year 1493 and 1494 AD. Spanish Inquisition took place. It was a culmination, really, of centuries of Jewish persecution, uprooting and punishment, death for Jews because of their religious beliefs. God enables Christopher Columbus to discover their new home in the Western Hemisphere. This all happened in the year 1493 and 1494 during the four blood moon tetras that landed on Passover and Tabernacles. And then the sixth time was the year 1949-1950. Israel was miraculously declared a nation, the rebirth of the nation of Israel for the first time in 2,000 years. And the United Nations accepted them a year later. Dead Sea Scrolls were also found at just an unbelievable time back in the years 1949 and 1950, again on Passover and Tabernacles. And then the seventh time was the year 1967 and 1968. Jerusalem was restored as the capital of Israel. The 6-day war was fought in which the Jews won, and the Temple Mount was seized by Israel for the first time in 2,000 years. These four blood moon tetras, again, landing on Passover and Tabernacles. Now, this is the 8th time since the crucifixion of Christ, and this is unbelievable. The events that have been taking place, really unbelievable. But the difference in this one is that the fourth blood moon, there's here's three, which we're going to have Saturday. But number 4 is a super blood moon. It does land on the Feast of Tabernacles, and it will be visible from the streets of Jerusalem. And Lord willing, I will be preaching a blood moon revival on that very night in Hyman, Pennsylvania at Tri-State Ministries, the very night of the fourth and final blood moon, a super blood moon. We are seeing biblical signs. The Bible says there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars, and distress of nations with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring, men's hearts failing them for fear of things coming upon the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken. Are you saved? It's time to give your life to Jesus Christ. Genesis 1:14 tells you the sun and the moon and stars were all made for signs and seasons, and certainly we can see we're in the end time season. Have you given your life to Jesus Christ? You need to do this. We're running out of time.